Good evening, everyone. Just a few reminders before we get going. As a courtesy to our fellow media members, the coaches and student athletes, please silence your cell phones. Also a reminder, recording press conference video on cell phones is prohibited. Please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question during the press conference. We'll have 2 mic runners. Please wait for the microphone to reach you before asking a question and direct your question towards one of the student athletes or coaches. If you are joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We will address questions in the room first and then take questions from Zoom if time permits. Joining us now is the Louisville Cardinals head coach Dan McDonald and student athletes Patrick Forbes and Jake Monroe. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach and then open it up to questions for the student athletes.
Obviously, congratulations to Oregon State. Man, they played well outside. I know that was kind of a freaky error there late, but man, they pitched well. I mean, holy cow! You know, they made our offense. You know, they were ahead of our offense tonight. I mean, my gosh, I didn't want to. I know I had to look at this box score, but yeah, 14 strikeouts against a really good offense, and so I thought they pitched really well. They took advantage of. You know, an unfortunate situation for us, just a little hiccup here or there, and then you get walked off in the 9th. But man, look, must have been a great game for everybody to watch and enjoy, and there's a lot of good baseball, you know. So we came up on the short end.
We'll open it up to questions for the student athletes.
Monty Taylor, College Baseball Central. Patrick, that was one of your better performances. I know the numbers don't necessarily indicate it, but it seemed like they weren't able to touch your slider for most of the game. I mean, what was working for you? It felt like you were really in the zone there, kind of matching, their guy pitch for pitch.
Really just trying to get ahead. The slider was good late in the count. Just kind of try to get him in between the fastball and the slider. So that was working to get some swing and miss. They put some good swings on some balls. Give them credit. I tried to keep us in it, let the offense come back, but that's baseball.
Alexis Cubitt, Louisville Courier-Journal. Jake, Dan was just talking about the pitchers. I guess from your vantage point, what did you see from them, and how difficult was it to try to get some hits off of them?
Yeah, it was tough. They attacked us well. They kept us off balance, but. As good as they pitched, it's kind of on us. We could have done a lot better as a group. So, hats off to them. But as hitters, we know that game won't happen again. It's a rare occurrence that our pitchers keep us in for that long, and we don't help them out a little bit more.
Jake McKeever, College Baseball Central. Patrick and Jake, how does a team respond after a game like that?
Like we have been usually. When we get a loss during the season, we usually come back the next game with an edge. So I think we're definitely hungry after this win, and that's why they give you 2 losses. It's not like basketball where you win, where you lose once and then you're out. So that's what makes this game great. So I'm looking forward to see how we respond.
Yeah, it's so what now what saying that we use a lot. I think it's win or go home now. So I think you're gonna see some of the best baseball out of us.
Noah Bieniek, 11.7's questions for Jake. Elite starting pitching was on display tonight. Both teams hit list through the first 3 innings. But in the 4th inning, when the shadows kind of completely covered the mound, the cap on the offense lifted. Did the shadows play any role in the ability of picking up the off-speed pitches today?
Yeah, a little bit. I think also that first go-around, for them seeing Patrick and for us seeing this guy, 2 really good pitchers. So the shadow played a little bit. That second AB definitely felt a lot clearer, but still, we got to get the job done.
Jacob Rudin with Baseball America. Jake, what was it about Whitney's stuff that made him so hard to hit besides the shadows?
I think his short arm action. So Vila played up a little bit. He had his curveball today, his big one, which we weren't expecting him to throw as much as he was going to throw it. Just need to make an adjustment a little bit earlier. And then he was just all around the zone. I think he had 1 walk. He just kept attacking us, and he could land all pitches. So.
Patrick, Jake, thanks for joining us. Now we'll open it up to questions for Coach.
I guess, Dan, based on how your team has responded to losses, especially in the postseason, how confident are you going into that game on Sunday against Arizona?
I mean, there's no reason for us to not be confident. You know, we've it hasn't been the smoothest year. You know, success is not always a straight line. So we've had our bumps in the road, and we've zigged and we've zagged. And but like Patrick said, you know, we've been knocked on the mat a lot this year, but we have always gotten up. You know, and when you come from Louisville, Kentucky, and you have a Muhammad Ali uniform, you talk a lot of boxing. And you're going to get knocked down, especially with these teams. So I'm as confident as a coach should be, and just looking forward to getting out there playing Sunday.
Mark Garland, College Baseball Central. Coach, when you find yourself in a pitching duel like that where both guys are just really finding all their stuff early, does it change any way that you guys decide to go about the game plan? Does it change anything at all for you guys?
you know, as a coach, man, you're just a little helpless. I mean, I had heard how good Whitney was. I just had never seen him. But it was one of those, hey, coach, this guy was, you know, first rounder out of high school if he wanted to sign. But unfortunately for us, he chose to go to Oregon State, you know. And then I think Patrick Forbes, I mean, his best days are ahead of him. I think the sky's the limit. So I think you're right. Like you know, not to take anything away from how talented the pitchers are, but take that talent with the shadows, it was like unhittable. I mean, it was like strikeout. I mean, and you're just hoping that, you know, give the hitters a better chance when the shadow comes over. But still, I mean, that's just elite stuff. And like Jake said, man, the breaking ball. I mean, we weren't. I mean, we know he had it. We were just probably hoping he wasn't going to land it as well as he did the breaking balls, because, I mean, he really was throwing multiple pitches there. And, you know, we finally got to him right in the sixth. I don't know if he had a 3-ball count. The first hitter of the game was a 3-2 count to Lucas. And then I don't know if he had a 3-ball count for about 4 innings. And then we got to him there a little bit in the sixth, and they made the change. So, but man, like I said, they pitched really well. And like Jake, you know, it's a confident group. Our group expects a lot. They're going to be very disappointed in how they were offensively, but you know, they did show a fight, and you know, and so, you know, we got to come out and fight on Sunday.
Terry Pennington, Inside Louisville Baseball. Coach, you talk a lot about turning the page throughout the season. As you guys do that on to Sunday, you know, you've seen Arizona before this year. Now, it was the 3rd game of the year, so a long time ago. But is there anything that you can take from that game into Sunday, or is it just kind of it's, you know, a different part of the season and you just kind of play it new?
Yeah, it's a whole new season. I mean, we'll look at our scouting report and look at that game, but my gosh, yeah, it's February 16th, you know, and so it's really a whole new game, you know. So we just and we're into scouting reports. We want to be organized. We want to be prepared. But you know, this is about us. I got to make sure these guys don't get too down on themselves, and they're competitive, and it's going to hurt. It's supposed to hurt, but I just got to get them back and get them some rest, and you know, as we like to say, win the day. So I got to get out there tomorrow and make sure those guys win the day and get ready for Sunday.
Coach, obviously you have a really good middle infield, and you've played on turf fields throughout this tournament in the first 2 weekends to get to this point. And it's such a tight game where it's just so marginal, and there's 3 balls that hit gloves in the middle infield. Do you look on that and think about anything possibly of the first 2 weekends here?
No, I mean, you know, again, Oregon State, a lot of teams play on turf. You know, Kamayu almost made some great plays. And then, you know, Alex's error was just very unfortunate. You know, I believe he's one of the best shortstops in the country, and man, we're blessed to have him as our shortstop. I mean, he's a superstar, and you know, probably just forced it a little bit. Those medium hit balls are sometimes the harder balls to handle. When it's hit hard, it's a little more reactionary. When it's a slow roller, you're full speed. It's that medium ball that, and we practice, bases loaded. There's one thing about turning a double play. There's another about turning a double play with the bases loaded. And we practice that, and we talk about it, and we really try to use it as a momentum swing. Like when your back's against the wall, man, we got a chance to flip this game right here. So even though, we're on defense and they've got runners on the bases, it's really an opportunity for the defense. And but fortunately, it didn't kill us. It was just one run, and the law of averages they got a good chance to score a run anyway. I thought the difference, when they had first and second, nobody out, and one gets away from Patrick, the wild pitch, and that you want a team to give you an out to get runners in scoring position. But when they don't have to use an out to get runners in scoring position, it's a ground ball up the middle, run. Then we have to bring the infield in because it doesn't look like we're going to score that many runs, and it's a ground ball. And before you know it, you feel like you handed them 2 runs. Now, they earned it. That's situational hitting. But if it's first and second, that ball that's hit to Alex is a double play ground ball. And that's just the fine line. And when you win, you don't really talk about it, and people don't realize it. When you lose, you evaluate those things. But it's baseball. And if you're not going to score more runs, then, man, every pitch, every defensive play is it's crucial. And they dealt with it too, right, because of the error they made there, or errors, I guess, on that one play in the 9th. They get magnified, because it's such a low-scoring game. But that's what you love about baseball. I mean, there's a lot of ways to win, and unfortunately, there's a lot of ways to lose.
That'll conclude our press conference. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you for joining us. Just a couple of reminders before we get going again. Please, as a courtesy to your fellow media members, the coaches and student athletes, silence your cell phones. And recording press conference video on cell phones is prohibited. We'll have 2 mic runners in the room. Please wait for the microphone to reach you before asking a question. When the microphone does reach you, please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question during the press conference. If you are joining us on Zoom, please use the raised hand function for questions. We will address questions in the room first and take questions from Zoom if time permits. Now joining us are members from the Oregon State Beavers, head coach Mitch Canham, student athletes Gavin Turley, Dax Whitney, and Wilson Weber. Gentlemen, congratulations on your victory. We'll begin with a brief opening statement from Coach.
Brief. I appreciate you saying that so I don't talk too long. Those who know me know it can be longer than brief. Proud of the way the guys punch back. It seems to be more and more evident this is true character by the way our guys continue to fight. Both pitchers outstanding out the gate and very difficult at bats, and so very tight ball game. And those are the ones that you want to have because you know it brings out true character in guys. And even after the ninth inning excitement, to turn around, get back in the dugout and watch how these guys interacted with one another and showed true faith in the guy who was going up to the plate, the guy behind him, the guy next to him. I mean, up and down the dugout, it's like, sweet, this is how it's supposed to be for us. This is what we thrive in. We thrive in difficult situations, and I'm proud of the way they responded. But up and down, just favorite play of the game for me, and there were many. I'll just say hard hit ball right at Ivar Arquette, and he wears it off his belly. He's throwing his body in front of it. He didn't side straddle it and let it go by. It just, again, goes to show the type of guys that we have here, and I'm proud of them for putting their body on the line. Gavin trying to make a spectacular play right there, knowing that if the guy's on second or third, not a big deal, but he laid out and he put his heart on his sleeve right there and gave it his best for the guys. So I'm proud of each of them for playing with real heart and grit, especially on a platform like this.
We'll open it up to questions for the student athletes.
Noah Bieniek, 11.7. Gavin, I asked you this question yesterday, and what a way to break your coach's career RBI record in the postseason. Can you talk about the moment and the jubilation that you felt with your teammates on the field?
Yeah, it was awesome. I thought I broke it the first RBI of the game, though. Am I wrong? Is that wrong? Because I went over. I gave it to him. Yeah. But
come on, shocker, right?
But no, that moment was awesome. Just happy to do it for the guys. So yeah.
Mark Garland, College Baseball Central. Wilson, catching Dax tonight. I mean, it seemed like everything you guys were calling was working. Was there anything special tonight? I know we talked a little bit earlier about the shadows going on. Just talk a little bit about how Dax was working the zone today.
Just coming right out of the gate, hitting spots, locating heaters, and then also landing off speed when you need to. It's an easy game when you do that, but it's also very complicated. So it's really fun back there when Dax is locating and doing his job because it's fun.
Yeah, Gavin, you mentioned breaking your coach's RBI record, but have you ever seen any footage of him playing here in Omaha?
I've seen a little bit, yeah. Yeah,
It's not nothing.
I've seen
nothing to inspire them as far as the catching goes or anything like that.
More the rapping inspires us. So
yeah, that's good. Appreciate that. Let's keep the questions that way.
Dax, last week pitch count climbed a lot. I think you were up around 97 over 4 2/3. Today you were really efficient, obviously through the first 3 innings and even into, as your start went on. Can you talk about sort of the feel you had for your pitches, curveball in particular, and sort of how you were able to manage at-bats a bit better?
Yeah, just going out, trying to establish a fastball early. Just the goal today was fill up the zone, don't walk. That's been my big thing I've been working on lately is just don't walk guys, don't give them free bases. So establishing the heater early, and then they weren't doing too well on the curveball early, so I just kept spinning that thing over and over, and I felt like I could throw it in any count, and it made it pretty easy. And also, at the start after the first inning, Trent comes up to me and he's like, "You can't see anything at the plate right now." It's like, okay, I'll just keep throwing more curveballs in.
In the back.
Aaron Slindy, KVAL TV in Eugene. Gavin, just after that top of the inning, things don't go your way. Just what were the conversations like in the dugout heading into your at-bats that kind of gave you the confidence to be able to come back and have that offensive performance in order to win the game and avoid an elimination bracket that I know you guys are very familiar with?
Yeah, it was cool because it's the same thing every at bat for us. It's go up there and compete and try to hit the ball hard. And knowing that we had the top of the lineup up, I knew we had a real shot to do something dangerous. And as soon as Iva got on, opened a lot of possibilities up with the runner on first. So yeah, just getting in there and trying to get a good pitch to hit and hit it hard and let the game play itself out. So yeah.
Dax, I know we talked a lot in the preseason about the reasons for coming here. this has to be like the reason why you wanted to come to Oregon State, to get that kind of start on this kind of night and perform like that, right?
I mean, absolutely. This is the exact thing I had in mind when I made the decision to come to Oregon State. So it's kind of beautiful to see it all come into fruition here, and I wouldn't want to be doing it with any other group of guys.
Jake McKeever, College Baseball Central. Gavin and Wilson, you guys mentioned the shadows, but it felt like that second time through the lineup, y'all had much more competitive at bats, fouling pitches off. Is it really as black and white as the shadows getting better, or was there a change in the approach?
I'd say it's definitely real for sure, but even like the second time through, like what you're going to see, and it is a little bit better, but it's just kind of understanding and having a different approach by just kind of almost two-strike type thought. Be like, I'm going to get something in the zone and hit it rather than like trying to do damage too early.
Yeah, I think the shadows definitely play a part of it, but everyone's got to deal with them. So knowing that, just see the ball a little bit deeper and compete even harder. So.
Wilson, knowing how familiar you guys are with the elimination bracket, knowing how hard it is to come back and be successful in the elimination bracket when your back's against the wall, I know that's a feeling that you guys are very used to, but how important was it? And was there a sigh of relief kind of when you saw Gavin hit that ball and you saw Iva come be safe at home plate? Was there a sense of a relief knowing that you guys did avoid an elimination bracket off of the first game, and what does that mean?
It honestly wasn't going through my head in the moment at all, but definitely it's nice to not have to go through that from the get-go. But it's just kind of goes to show that we're not out of it till the last out, and even if they did put up even 2 more runs that inning, we still probably would have done what we did and came back and won it. So that's kind of how I saw it.
Dax, Wilson, Gavin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Now we'll open it up to questions for Coach.
Coach Andrew Idell, College Baseball Central. Can you talk about the maturity you saw from Dax on the mound today, especially being a freshman pitching game 1 in the biggest stage in college baseball?
Yeah, I think the moment obviously highlights that even more, but how he's gone about his work all year, I wasn't surprised to see that. Playing in front of 25,000 people, national television, the greatest show on dirt. Like he said, he's been dreaming about that before he got here. So this wasn't his first time stepping on that stage. Each of those guys have visualized it. When they work with Zach Taylor on doing our mental skills and visualizations, like that's part of it, is putting yourself in that arena in those big moments, facing the best, the other 7 best teams in the country. And so I personally wasn't shocked. I was calmed knowing he was going out there and competing, because I know what he's put himself through. And even watching his bullpens or anything else, he works at such a high level of intensity that it wasn't shocking, I don't think, for any of us.
Aria Gerson from USA Today. Mitch, you played here as a player, but first of all, what does it mean to you to be back here for the first time as a coach? And then what is different about the experience, leading the team instead of playing for it?
I wouldn't say I'm leading the team. I think these guys are doing that themselves. There's leadership all around them. Sometimes it's just smart to get out of their way and let them go about their business. We work extremely hard in practice all the time, and the games are for them to go out and let loose and show their talents. And so a lot of the times, you put together a game plan. Gibson does a great job coordinating with our hitters, making sure that they have a great plan of attack. And that second time through, just the small things about how we're going to shorten up and see the ball. I mean, each pitch that we see gives us more of an advantage as the game goes on. Dax said it too. I don't want to walk guys. The more pitches they see, it makes it harder on the bullpen. And so, being here is more fulfilling than being here as a player, I think, because I get to watch so many other people have joy and turn around and look at Beaver Nation supporting us the entirety of the way, and watching these guys just glow. You don't necessarily see that as a player. You're kind of you're with the guys and enjoying it, but now when you're playing, you're out there busting your butt and sweating it out pretty good. But right now you get to sit back and you get to watch Ivar Arquette's joy. You get to watch each of those guys competing and coming back and communicating with each other even more, and like the joy is double of what it was as a player. And those were amazing times that still bring, like, you got to choke back tears when you're watching the highlights of it from way back when. It was black and white, but I still watch them.
Noah Darling, College Baseball Central. Coach, kind of building off of that, pretty well documented. Pat Casey was here tonight. ESPN was kind of all over that. But when you think about the memories of that time that you just mentioned and just being around Casey as a head coach at that time, and when you're in a game like this, topsy-turvy, what do you think about in those moments that Casey might have done back then, and how has he remained a mentor for you?
It was awesome to see him. I saw him this morning when we got back to the hotel after doing some interviews, and saw him and his wife rolling out of the hotel. So definitely got a big hug and excited that he's here. And I didn't expect to see him on the Jumbotron either. I know that's not his cup of tea, is to be in that situation. But tremendous mentor, always has been, always will be. And if anything, what I've learned from my wife, Coach Casey, and every other mentor that I've had and special person in my life, those moments that you start to feel a little sped up, I was actually, I felt a sense of calm come over me, and just trying to stick with the process of what situations we have at hand, what could possibly come up, and being prepared, trusting your gut, but also, having strong faith and being around people that are like strong in their faith as well allows you to be calm, because at no point are you alone, right? You always have him with you. And so, and not only that, do I have Jesus with me, I have all the guys in the clubhouse with me and all of Beaver Nation. So how would I ever feel overwhelmed or nervous when I have that, all of that with me? And that's a very powerful thing, and I'm grateful for that. And as I've grown older, it's, I think it's helping me with my longevity of life instead of stressing out all the time.
Jake McKeever, College Baseball Central. Mitch, Gavin and Iva both had defensive miscues in the top of the ninth, and then immediately flushed it and had fantastic at-bats. What does that say about the resiliency of this team? And did that cross your mind when Iva had the error that he was coming up second in that inning?
Well, I knew prior to that, usually like seventh inning, I was already like trying to get an idea of what was going to happen in the eighth, where we're at in the ninth. So if we can, press on the bases a little bit more. You want to make sure that you're not cutting your outs short coming up for that possible ninth inning if something does happen. So it mitigates a little bit of risk that we're going to take earlier on. But knowing those guys were there, like that's where a ball gets to the fence. I mean, we were talking about, I look all around the field and I'm looking at Gold Glovers. Those guys steal the heck out of bases. We got a good time to the plate. Wilson threw a dart to second, puts on a great tag. We're in a good spot. No one's on base. Okay, they get another hit, and the ball kicks around a little bit here and there. But the worst thing you can do is panic, right? You got to take a breath, and even if the game's tied, we still get to hit, and we're at a great spot in our order. And when I say a great spot in our order, I mean it's our turn to hit. That's always a good spot to be in. And how these guys work day in and day out, that gives me that confidence in those moments. And I know if I'm not feeling confident, it's going to spread to the rest of the guys. And so you're constantly looking at the lineup card and looking at the guys, and you're breathing that positivity into existence. And so Ivar Arquette's made 4 errors all year, and he was trying to make a really immaculate play for the guys. AJ Singer's made 1 error all year. That guy is a magician with the glove. Our guys work extremely hard, and so sometimes those things are going to happen. And I'm not surprised, but also very proud of how they responded to each of those things that happen. And isn't that how it always works out? There's a miscue, and then that guy wins the game or whatever. But Gavin did the right thing going after the ball right there. It didn't matter if he missed it or not. It was going to be a hit, so might as well try to take one away when you got a 2-run lead.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, that'll conclude our press conference for this evening. Thank you. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at nca.veritome.com. Transcripts are provided by SAP and will be posted shortly.